Hello everyone. I'm pleased to meet all of you after completing the phase one of the Team Mastery program called ROAR. I hope all of you are doing well. We're creating a new video platform called iRoar to keep in touch with each one of you on the field. We know how busy you are. So we're creating this video platform and you will shortly be invited. You will get links to use this. And we want to build this video platform as an interactive community where it's not just us who will share some videos with important messages, but we will give you an opportunity where we want you to simply use your mobile phone, talk into the camera, and just upload it so that you will we can stay in touch and communicate with each other. Not only you, we are also going to get your AMs, NSMs, everyone in the entire chain of command to participate in this platform. And we are also launching what I call a series of expert speak videos. And we're going to have two people whom you've met in the ROAR program. JS, of course, all of you know. And we're also going to have Anuradha on video. And JS and Anuradha are going to share their knowledge, their experience, their insights, their perspectives. So it gives me great pleasure to invite JS to this conversation. So JS, I wanted to start by asking you how did the program, the first phase of the ROAR program go? What are some changes you're seeing? What are you hearing from the boys? So if you can just talk about that.
Yeah, post the ROAR program across the country that we had completed, when I interact with the area managers and the territory managers, I find that the awareness about the existing relationship with the dealers, the responsibilities of the dealers and the territory managers has been developed, and now the territory managers seems to be much clear on what needs to be done by whom. The success of this program depends on how frequently they practice this in every situation that they come across in their day-to-day operations, and so that it becomes a very automate kind of a practice that they get into. And I'm sure that this will yield much better results both in their business and also the way they handle and the way they being successful in their career.
JS, welcome to the TM Expert Speak series of videos that we are going to offer on this platform. And I'm going to start by asking you, JS, why is the role of the territory manager, both sales and service, so critically important for the organization?
Any success of any company depends not just on the product or the policy or strategy. Yes, it is important, but more important is how well it is executed in the field. And this is done by the territory manager sales and territory manager service along with their area managers and NSMs. Just imagine a situation where the policies of the company or a product is not executed properly. That goes waste. And it's no use for the company and not for the dealer, not for the customer. If the policies or the product gets executed properly 100% at the field level by the territory manager sales and service, the benefit of that product or policies goes to the customer, to the dealer and the company, which makes either a higher volume, or it makes them to earn more money, or it makes them to give good satisfaction, better satisfaction to the customer. Hence, I feel just not the strategy, the execution of the strategy by the field people is very, very critical for success of the company.
That's very insightful, JS. You often talk about the territory manager, sales and service, to be this last mile connectivity to the dealer, and the entire success or failure at a dealership point is heavily dependent on this role called territory manager. So could you talk a little more about why this is such a vital last mile link?
I find that the final customer decides whether the company is good or bad. So if the customer is taken care properly at the dealership, whenever he is walking into the dealership, whether it is sales or service, I think the company is going to do much better. The dealership and the company is going to grow, and the word of mouth spreads much more faster. Hence, I think the territory manager and sales and service are critical in training the dealer sales team and the service team to give a much better service, a delightful service to the customer whenever he walks into the showroom. I think that's why this territory manager sales and service forms a very critical link in the success of any company.
Many times I have heard you talk about the complexity of this role called territory manager, sales, territory manager, service. And I have also heard you say that this person is a special person because he is just not a salesperson. He's wearing multiple hats. Apart from doing his own job of sales or service, he is also an HR person. He is a data analyst. He is a finance person because he's involved in collections and reporting. So the PM is constantly wearing multiple hats. And how can our TMs actually see this as an opportunity for value adding this experience, JS?
Yeah, whether it is territory manager sales or territory manager service, he may be responsible for the market share and customer satisfaction. But for achieving these two, he is not going to just do selling or just do servicing. He has to do a function which is much higher level, which a much higher responsibility. For example, he need to understand what's happening in his area. What is the expectation of the customer? He need to speak to the customer, understand. He need to do some data analysis and understand what's going right and what's going at the competition, not just at the dealership, but even at the competition area. Why the customer is going there. So understand all these things. So he becomes more like a data analyst, and he becomes more like a businessman where he understands the need of the customer. Now, having this understanding, how do I get these things implemented at my dealership, whether it is sales or service? So he need to put things, action plan, saying that these are the things that I need to get it done for achieving my market share gain or customer satisfaction. Now, having shortlisted the actions, now he has to get the things done. He is not going to meet each and every customer on his own. He is going to get the things done through a set of people. So he need to get them understand his objective. He need to get them understand what the customer actually requires and what is expected out of them. Engage them to their objective, engage them to a dealership, and make them happy to get whatever he is talking about. And if he is able to do all these things together, I think the end results will be much better than just trying to sell or just trying to service. So if he has to do all these things, he is not just a salesperson. He is much higher than a salesperson, a finance guy who understands the customer needs in finance, a market analyst who understands the data and things like that, and put an action plan together, and a HR person who convinces the team to get the things done.
So Jace, when you talk about the TM wearing multiple hats, you're actually saying that our territory managers, sales and service are real heroes. How is this going to add to their experience? How is this going to benefit their career? Yes.
See, in many companies, a salesperson has to do a set of activities which is just selling, pushing to the dealer, the billings and things like that, or just doing a service activity. Here in TVS, as I was mentioning to you, he has to understand the need in this territory. Every territory is different. So what is the problem in the territory? What is the customer expectation in the territory? Understanding it and then analyzing it and coming out with a solution for that, and then getting it implemented through a set of 50 or 100 people that is in this territory, and finally analyzing what went right and what went wrong and deploy it to the other dealership. So if you see these set of activities, it's more like an entrepreneur by himself, understanding the needs of the customer, arriving at an action plan, getting a team to get it done, and then checking whether it is right or wrong. If you see the spectrum, I think he adds value to himself, not just as a salesperson, but more than a salesperson, a complete business person. I think this adds a lot of value to him to take a higher responsibilities in the company.
Wow, this really sounds exciting. Given the strategic importance of the territory manager, sales and service, given the fact that they're wearing multiple hats, if I were to ask you to boil it down to the three main priorities for a territory manager, what would you classify them? What would be the three priorities that you would say that they need to focus on a daily basis?
I would say first thing is they need to have a passion of and thinking big. It has to be very aspiration. That's the first thing I feel that which will take care of almost 50% of the problem or the opportunities. Once he aims high, I think then he needs to have the right knowledge to put up an action plan, what will make him to reach there. And the third one is how does he engage the entire team by using his skills like influencing skills, motivation skills. Using these skills, how does he engage the entire dealership team to get the things done? I think these three, in my opinion, are very critical for success of any territory manager, whether it is sales or service in the company.
And how are we supporting the territory managers to be able to focus on these priorities?
As a company can make the territory managers think big by showing them the opportunities, by showing them the industry scenario, or with the right kind of policies, strategies, framework, and things like that. Based on this, the territory manager has to understand what is the necessity in his territory and start having his own dreams of building up the territory in terms of numbers or customer satisfaction.
Given the fact that our success as an organization is directly related to the success of our dealerships, and given the fact that the territory manager is the crucial, critical link to the success of the dealer, how can our territory managers help our dealers be successful?
So I feel that the dealer comes with a resource which can put up an infrastructure, it can put up a set of people and a setup that is required for running a dealership. The territory manager brings in the ideas, brings in the software that is required to make the people follow a certain system and process so that better selling can happen, customer satisfaction can happen. So he brings in a hardware, territory manager brings in the software. So I think with the combination of these two, you start creating a business. But over a period of time, the territory manager should act like a dealer development manager. He should transfer the software, the ideas that he has got. He should transfer it to the dealer team, whereas the dealer manager or the dealer owner start taking care of the customers and start taking care of the sales and service operation of the dealership on their own. When this happens, I think the territory manager has successfully developed the dealer to start running on its own. Then it becomes an independent unit to run on its own, to take care of all the challenges that comes along the way.
JS, now that you talked about why the success of the dealer is so critical for the entire organization, how can our territory managers earn the respect of our dealers? Because it's only when they earn the respect and the credibility of the dealers will they actually listen to them. So can you give our territory managers some tips, some insights, how can they earn the respect of the dealers?
See, dealer as a person has made an investment and he expects a returns out of it. So he is looking for a better business, better customer satisfaction, same thing like what a company also looks at. So the territory manager's responsibility is to add value to the infrastructure that he has put in. So if he is able to add value to the business, the dealer starts valuing the territory manager visits, the territory manager's presence. So territory manager should look at how do I get things implemented at the dealership as what the company expects. For example, if the company says that these 3-4 things needs to be there at the dealership, the territory manager should ensure that that is implemented at the dealership. So once that is implemented, that is going to result in better customer satisfaction, better sales, which is going to help the dealer to earn more money, dealer to increase his business, which is what the dealer also is expecting. So a territory manager is valued when he adds value to the dealer business every day.
JS, one of the main reasons why we designed the TM Mastery program called ROAR was because we find many times our territory managers underestimating their own authority and power, and they become submissive in front of dealers. I want you to analyze why does this happen in the first place. It should not, because territory managers are actually equal business partners of our dealers, right? But why do they become submissive, particularly in front of dealer owners? And how can they correct this behavior?
Okay. Many times I find that territory managers think that that dealer will be happy with me if I am very soft with him, if I accept everything that he says, and if I am very submissive, and if I don't rack up any issues, if I don't argue with him. So if I do all these things, the dealer will be happy with me and he will do whatever I want him to do. This is the one side of thought that the territory manager, some of the territory manager may have, which is a wrong impression. The dealer values territory managers not based on whether he is soft or accepting to whatever he says or something like that. He values when he adds value to the business. Finally, the business should grow, more customers should walk in, more customers should be happy, and his brand should be much more better than what it was in the last year. That's what he wants the business to grow every year. For that, what is the territory manager doing? If the territory manager adds value, and he will have full respect for the territory manager. So instead of getting into a wrong impression of I need to be soft and things like that, the territory manager has to be very firm, get the right things implemented at the dealership and add value to the dealers. This will help him having a very good relationship with the dealer on a long run.
JS, continuing on this question on why our territory managers need not be submissive in front of dealer owners. They have been empowered, they've been given the authority, right? And they can be very firm with their dealers. So, do you have any guidelines on how they can assert themselves and how can they make dealer owners more accountable to what the organization wants?
So, as I was mentioning, the territory manager responsibility is to ensure that whatever systems or policies that the company has gotten, that has to be implemented for the gain in business or for gain in customer satisfaction. For this to be implemented, if he needs to be very firm, for some of the actions the dealer or the dealer team may not be able to understand that it's going to help them. But it's a responsibility of the territory manager to influence them, to take the right things to them and then explain to them how it is going to help them on a long run and get it implemented. By doing this, he adds value to the dealer and he adds value to the customer and he adds value to the company also. This is going to build up the relationship between the dealer and the territory manager on long run, and he is also going to have a gain in the business and gain in customer satisfaction by doing this.
JS, I'm continuing on this theme of being assertive, because if you go back to the ROAR program, we really talked about the lion quadrant, right? Where you're assertive and you demand accountability. In order to make this clear through examples, can you give our territory managers one example of what a submissive territory manager does? And what is the negative impact of that? Because then the organization suffers, the dealership suffers. And can you also give one assertive example where the territory manager holds the dealer accountable and everybody benefits from that?
Okay. Territory manager being assertive, definitely it helps in much better business, much better customer satisfaction in the dealership, and hence for the company. For example, good quality of people are required at the dealership to take care of the customers, because they are the people who interact with the customers and deliver the right kind of quality that is required. For example, if a dealership doesn't have the right people or a right quantity or quality of the people, one set of territory manager who doesn't want to antagonize the dealer, he tries to make these people work and just accept that situation and get along with the kind of situation that is available there. By this, the quality of the service suffers. Take the other set of territory manager who are very assertive. He goes to the dealer and explain to him, this is not on. The quantity is not there and the quality is not there, and these are the kind of people that we require for taking care of the customers. If he is able to influence the dealer and if he is able to get the right set of people, he gets into training them. 1 month down the line, you can see a sea change in the customer service in those in that particular dealership, which is going to impact the customer, the service that is being offered to the customer, which is going to impact the better business, better service, better word of mouth. So, assertive territory manager makes a big impact on the dealership, on the customer service, and on the company operations in that particular town.
JS, in your long experience in the field and in TVS, you've been there, done that all through your long career. If I were to ask you for what are the 3 qualities that makes a territory manager sales and service successful, what would you list as these 3 qualities?
I would say, as I mentioned earlier, one is the territory manager sales and service should have passion and should be aiming high. That sets a platform for where he wants to go. Number 2, having set a target for himself. Now he has to work out on how do I reach there. This is where the business knowledge comes in. And the business knowledge, if he doesn't have fully, he can always take it from his seniors, from his peer group and things like that. Number 3, once the action plan is ready, how do I get it done, executed by my team for which the people skills are required? How do I engage them? How do I motivate them? How do I be very firm with them? So as far as handling the people is concerned, I strongly believe in 1, being very fair with them. Number 2, being very friendly with them. Number 3, being very firm with them. These 3 qualities, I think, can make the people together and can engage the people with the team and get the results, whatever he is expected, whatever he is targeted, can be achieved in a particular dealership.
JS, we all acknowledge that the role of the territory manager sales and service is a challenging role. There is no question. But I often hear that our TMs saying that they do not enjoy work-life balance, that they're working 12, 14 hours daily, often 6.5 days a week. My question to you is this really required? Can they not achieve all the results that they want and also get work-life balance so they can spend time with their families? From your own personal experience, can you share how it is possible to achieve both?
Yeah, this problem comes when we are not able to get the things done by a set of people. Here it is dealer team. See, as I was mentioning, you need to have the high targets or high aspirations. Number 2, a good plan to achieve, go there. And number 3, to get it executed by a set of people. If I have the first 2 and if I don't have the third one of developing the dealer people and getting things out of them, then I'm going to end up doing everything that I want to do, and that's going to eat away my time, my energy. And number three is I'm not developing my people also. So again and again, I need to keep doing it at every dealership and every month. This is going to be tiring. So I need to be a dealer development manager and not the sales manager. If I'm a sales manager, I have the plans ready and I keep doing it. But here it's not just a sales manager or service manager. We are a dealer development manager. We want to develop the dealers. So I have a plan ready and I develop my people to get that things done. Just assuming a situation where the dealer manager says, "Sir, I'm on 20th and I am almost at 90% of my target. The balance 10% also I know how to get it done. I will achieve the target this month." So if a dealer service manager or sales manager says this, then what more is required for a territory manager to get stressed about? So if I don't develop the dealer manager or dealer team, I get stressed. So it all depends on whether I develop the people or not develop the people. Hence the third link in the three links becomes very, very critical for the territory manager to find time for himself.
JS, continuing this question on how can our territory managers achieve results and work-life balance. In the ROAR program, we talked about how they should avoid slipping into the donkey quadrant or the goat quadrant. And this typically happens, like you said earlier, that I as a territory manager start doing what the dealer owner has to do or what the dealer manager has to do. So can you share your thoughts on how I can avoid becoming the donkey or the goat?
Yeah, being a donkey is not a problem. I need to demonstrate to my dealer team to make them understand how to get that things done. But continuously being in the donkey area is a problem. Then I keep doing the work myself and my team doesn't get it's a delegate upward delegation. People have asked make me to do it and I keep doing it and they are happy. So instead of doing it, demonstrate and then be firm, be very clear. First thing we need to be clear what is his responsibility and what is my responsibility. Once this is clear, train him on what all things the dealer team has to do. It could be a dealer manager, it could be a dealer, it could be a dealer team. Once you have made them understand what are they supposed to do and how to get it done, now be very firm in getting the things done. If you are able to do these three things, I think they will be they will be taking care of their responsibility and your targets, your work gets done. And for that, you need to become a lion in the sense, be very firm on getting things done from the dealer team. So if these three things happens very well, I think you need not get into the donkey area at all. If you are not doing these three things properly, you end up being in the donkey area, doing everything that some other person is supposed to do, and you don't do finally your work.
And the dealer owner is always happy to offload his responsibility to you.
Obviously, he will be very happy if somebody else is doing his work. But we need to be very clear what is my work and what is his work. If that clarity is there, and that's what we tried in the ROAR program to make a very clear distinction between what is the territory manager responsibility and what is the dealer responsibility. How do I bring it that awareness? Number two, how do I make the dealer team execute their responsibilities properly? Third one is how do I be aligned? How do I be very firm in getting things done from the dealer team and dealer manager and dealer on all the responsibility that I have listed it down? That's why if I am able to get these three done, I don't think he will be able to get into a donkey area at all. He will be a lion and he will be successful in his business.
JS, one question that came up during our ROAR workshops from our TM participants is that they are able to be assertive with younger, newer dealers, but when they sit in front of very senior dealers who, associated with TVS for 15 years, 20 years, I know the chairman, I know KNR, those kind of things come up. They find it difficult to enforce targets, difficult to ensure the compliance requirements. What would be your advice, particularly to our younger territory managers when they're dealing with senior dealers, to hold them accountable?
I find that whether it's a new dealer or a very senior dealer, every dealer looks for increasing business, increasing their profit, increasing customer satisfaction. So, for that to happen, if you are doing the right things, I think we shouldn't be worried about being very firm, getting things done, right things done at the dealership. So it's only a misconception saying that if I tell him this, then will he accept me? Will he accept this idea? And there could be an argument. There need not be an argument if I am able to say the objectives very clearly, which is going to help him and which is going to help the customer and the company. All the three people are in the same boat. We are traveling together in the same direction for better business and better customer satisfaction. If the dealer ends up in arguing with you, that means that we have not put the objectives very clearly. Probably I didn't influence him properly, I didn't convince him properly. So we need to get back on saying, how do I state the objective very clearly so that there is an acceptance from the dealer, and after that getting him done. Once the acceptance is done, then getting things done at the dealership is very easy. So the problem is, how do I put the objectives very clearly and influence him? So this is where your influencing skills play a big role in convincing any dealer on any issue that you want to discuss with him.
And in effect, what I'm hearing you say is that if I am Naresh, 25-year-old territory manager sitting in front of a very senior dealer, I'm actually not Naresh. I am TVS.
Absolutely.
Sitting in front of a senior dealer. You would agree with that, right?
Absolutely. Here the age doesn't matter at all. The dealer values the value addition that the territory manager gives it to a dealership. Whether he is a 25-year-old territory manager or 35-year-old territory manager, it doesn't matter. So it all depends on how a territory manager sales or service is able to add value to the business of the dealer and to the customer satisfaction and to the company. If it is a win-win situation, I don't think there is any problem in the age.
I find that the TM's focus typically is more on short-term results, like daily targets, weekly targets, monthly targets. How can we get our TMs to focus both on the short-term goals as well as the long-term goals, DS?
Yeah, both are equally important. There is no tomorrow without today. So I need to focus on today's results, and also I need to plan for tomorrow. If many a times a territory manager has a problem because he needs to do both the things, and if today is not proper, he is not going to have time to think about tomorrow. But who is going to take care of today? If he has not developed his team, his dealer managers, dealer team to take care of today, he is going to end up doing today's work. If he is going to do today's work, he is not going to have the time for tomorrow. So if he is able to develop the dealer manager, dealer team to take care of today's responsibilities, he need to do just the checking portion. Yes, is it happening? Not happening. And just shift himself into what he needs to do for the next week, for the next month, where all he needs to develop a network, where all he needs to improve the quality of the dealership, where all he needs to do training for the people. All this, he will have time for thinking about all this thing. If he is not going to develop his people for taking care of today's responsibility, he is never going to come out of it and never going to focus on tomorrow. So tomorrow also will going to be a problem for him. So the key thing is, how do I develop my team to take care of the responsibilities on the business, whether it could be a market share increase or customer satisfaction. That's why we keep saying we need to be a dealer, a development manager to ensure that the people are developed who can take care of today's responsibilities, and so that I can spend time for tomorrow and for the next month and next quarter on all quality areas.
Yes, you've been talking about the important qualities, you've been talking about the need for assertiveness, you've been talking about best practices. Can you actually share some recent examples where territory managers and the whole team have actually demonstrated huge success stories?
There have been certain areas where they have done a phenomenal success in their results in the recent past. I would name a few, which is just coming into my mind. It could be Delhi market share gain. It could be Northeast. It could be Kerala. Pune. So like this, there are many areas which has done a fantastic job in increasing their market share, and there are many areas where they have done very good work on customer satisfaction on JDPR and CSI. So how they are able to do these, when few areas are able to do such a phenomenal results, I find that the common thread among all these three things is, how do I ensure that I get my people, my dealer team, my dealer manager, all these people together on a common objective? How do I develop them on taking care of their responsibilities? So when they take care of their responsibilities, I start thinking about what needs to be done for my area for increasing my market share or increasing my customer satisfaction. When these people have done this as a cycle, they have seen success. And once they have seen success, the entire team, then it becomes much more easier for the territory man. The entire dealer team and the dealer network starts believing the territory manager. So it becomes much more easier. Now he can run much more faster because the entire team believes in him and runs with him. So all that is required for a territory manager is the first success. For that, he needs to struggle a bit. He needs to get the trust of the people. So if he is able to do that in the first cycle and achieve a success, I think then it becomes a very easy for any territory manager, sales or service to increase his customer satisfaction or market share again and again.
The territory manager is in a very interesting place because on the one side there is the dealer, and on the other side is his area manager. To make sure that the territory manager does not just become someone who receives instructions and communicates both ways, right? So he is not just an errand boy, but we also want the territory manager to think, be proactive. In order to develop this, how can the territory manager utilize the area manager in a productive manner?
See, territory manager responsibility is, I would say, for increasing, let us say, market share or CSI improvement. As a territory manager, if I start looking at what are the opportunities in my area or what are the problems in my area and come with the solutions also, many a time what happens is the territory manager normally goes to the area manager with the problem, and the area manager gives a solution. He goes and executes it. To break this cycle, I would recommend the territory manager starts looking at opportunities and problems and also solutions. Go and discuss with the area manager saying that this is my recommended solution and go and implement in this area. So instead of being reactive, if territory manager becomes proactive, I think the area manager also will have much better time to think about area development and things like that rather than getting into day-to-day problems. So I think it's a responsibility of a territory manager to take care of his territory, to identify what are the problems and opportunities and so discuss with the area manager along with the solutions rather than going to him only with the problems. By which I think the territory manager development also will be much more faster because he is not just going with the problem but also a solution development.
Hi folks, welcome to the TM Mastery Program ROAR. I mentioned about the expert series, expert speak video series. We had JS talk to us about his insights, and now I have the pleasure of welcoming Anuradha. Many of you, all of you know her, and she is in this very critical intervention called dealer transformation. And so I wanted to start, Anu, by asking you, post the phase 1 of the ROAR program, what is your sense? How did the program go? What are people talking about it? If you can just share some of your thoughts.
Yeah, thank you Naresh for that introduction. I'm so pleased to share the post effects of our TM transformation program ROAR. Like the word, our theme, I can see many roaring lions in our TMs post our program. So the very intention of we starting this TM transformation program or the intervention was to enable the TMs to perform their role better. So what does this mean to perform their role better? They were already performing territory managers. So in the context of competition, future technologies that is coming in, and with the dealer mass multiplying day by day, the bandwidth of our TMs to handle the dealerships, second to manage these complexities, and last but not the least, the different types of dealers whom they are meeting with, though they are pretty much at a fresher level or as compared to the dealer owners, they feel insecure that they are not able to meet to them. So in this context, we have been given many training programs for them as a one-off behavioral intervention like a leadership skill, communication skill. So it would be good for them to attend to that, take one or two things and then just leave it away. But the need for applying it, practicing it, and then seeing how it will help them actually deal in a real-time situation. So this was the thought that triggered us when we wanted to design a program that will help them real-time perform on their roles. In that context and in the dealer, so this also took the context of our TMs transforming as dealer development managers.
Right.
In that context, this program has come out to be a great success, where they find it very useful in applying, in understanding the concepts because it relates to their real life scenarios very much, and they are readily able to apply it and see whether it works or not, and they are able to improvise on that.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Anuradha, TVS as a company focuses a lot on following very strict standards and systems. Sometimes I've heard TMs, both sales and service, see this as a burden. So what I hear is they have to chase targets, collections, etc. And at the same time, they also have to adhere to the many systems and procedures. Could you explain to our folks why following systems and procedures will actually help make their work easier in the long run?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Naresh. In fact, it is not for our front-end folks. Even people back at our factory, other than production wonder, for example, our NPD wonder, why do we need process and systems? Ours is a creative process. Only the production guys and the manufacturing guys applies to, they can comply to process and standards. But this is the most often misunderstood concept or philosophy, I would say. Why I'm saying is as a concept or philosophy is, in our TVS way of values, one of the guiding principles for us is focus on process for results. So people generally get tied down by looking at the process and standard element for that. But whenever you link it and see it as this phrase, process for results, you will not feel the burden of it. So what does this mean, process for results, right? Anything that we create as a process or a standard is towards achieving certain things. And in case we are not able to achieve that, then it is our own wish and will to look at and revisit the process or recorrect the process or form a new process such that we go to that result. So it is not hand tying us, or it is not bound that systems are to be followed, processes are to be followed unquestioned. No, it is everybody's role to look at our process, keep improvising with the objective of achieving the result. So that is what, as a philosophy, process for results mean. The same applies to our field team also. So don't look it as a hand tying mechanism. It is towards bringing a better result. So why process is important per se? I can keep doing it and achieving result. Here comes the question for need for process, that is sustainability. Independent of men, independent of system, the environment, if certain things have to work, then process is required. So the consistency of results, the sustainability of results is always maintained in a process. So that is why in any dynamic environment also this process approach works.
Anuradha, that was very insightful about why systems, processes and procedures have been created in the first place. So in order for our TMs to look at process, procedure, systems as a friend and not as an enemy. Can you give us a simple example?
Okay, let's take the dealership sales process for instance. The whole process of sales itself is a process in itself where it starts with welcoming the customer, understanding his needs, explaining the product features to him, explaining the different purchase enablers to him like finance options or what, giving him a test ride, demo options, and then making sure that once he is convinced about buying a product, that he gets a superior experience or a memorable experience when he takes his delivery. So having said this as a process, but there are no hard and fast rules that a sales executive will be following in principle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? He will be modifying it according to the customer he receives, according to the requirements that come up and to the context and to the place where he is, right? So he is allowed to operate and make sure that the end objective is the customer should be convinced and he should buy a product for which she or he has a flexibility to do out different things. But the standard guideline is all these processes to be done, but how to be done is still in the hands of the person who is doing it.
So, what you're saying is not to take shortcuts. And the other line that I heard you say also is it's not process for the sake of process, but process for results. So the message to our TMs is when you think of a process, remember it is process for results. And that will motivate you, that will inspire you to stick to the process because you know that you will get better results of it.
Exactly. So while we say that it is flexible and that it is open to improvisation, the key benefit of process is also what we have to have in mind. The process is created because it has given a guaranteed success. Even if today or tomorrow the respective territory manager is not there or the sales manager is not there, but the process takes care of itself. So as a beginner, when I come in or a new person comes in, he'll be able to take off from a place where the earlier person has left. So in that way, process is also a stability tool, we can say, which helps the system to be in a stability state.
Many times I've heard our TMs, both sales and service, say that they are stuck between their area managers and their dealers and they don't know whom to please. How can you help them resolve this dilemma?
Yeah, this is a very good question. So let's look at, I see it from a different point of view. Instead of looking at pleasing the AM, area manager, or the dealer owner, let's look at what is that area manager and the dealer and me as an individual TM are working at. If you look at that purpose, the purpose is we are all working towards our business growth, right? But the dealer see it from an angle of profitability, and we at TVSM see it from the point of market share and business growth. But the end objective is we want to grow our business. So we are all connected at that point. So ultimately the dealer and the area manager, all of us are striving towards that. So when you look at the purpose more, I think resolving these minor issues become non-critical. While I say so, it is easier said than done, right? While we know that the purpose is same, but operationally you will have to face the concerns raised by your dealers. The area managers will have certain expectations on business growth. So this is where our program comes to play. The lion quadrant that you will have to take, right? Be assertive. After all, whatever plans and whatever strategies, whatever targets you have is going to get executed finally by our dealer principals. And if they are not convinced and if they are not fully into what we are saying to them, then we'll end up nowhere. So it is good to be a lion. Look at the dealers' voices. Genuinely look at whether it is a genuine issue or concerns they are raising. Try to resolve and go forward. If it is not so, it doesn't mean, like as we know in our lion thing, not to accept SS to all the concerns he says. Make him understand that this is business and take him forward. So that's what I said as the lion approach when you take to a dealer owner. Similarly, when you look at an area manager, what he looks for us is a continuous business growth, no surprises, and stability in results. If we are able to do this proactively by collaborating with the dealer, then the tussle with area manager or the so-called pressures from area managers are really not there. You are leading that rather than they leading you.
Anuradha, if I am a TM, I sometimes feel my job is very lonely. And I sometimes feel that I don't get a lot of support from the ecosystem around me, right? So, for someone like me who feels like a victim, who feels that the system is not supporting me enough, what advice would you give me?
So, this whole TM transformation program is designed to address that. When do we feel that we are victimized? When do we feel that we are alone? That is when we are tending to operate in the donkey or goat quadrant. What dealers are supposed to do is what we have taken on our heads, and we are toiling day in and day out, running around the same routines without the clarity of what dealers should do and what we should do, right? So when we are in this quadrant, there will be never a time when you will have time for yourself, time for reflection of what you will have to do as a TM. So the chakkar continues, right? So that is when you feel that you do a lot of things, but still you have not there. As a TM, you have not still achieved more or accomplished more. So this whole program is about how do we move from the donkey and the goat quadrant to the lion quadrant. The lion quadrant is the one which is the assertive, which will make you feel confident, and that is where the ecosystem is there right now, which has given you all the empowerment, authority and accountability to deliver your role. It's just that we'll have to take it, right? So in all sense, what we've been repeatedly saying in the program also, you are not just a territory manager X, but you are a TVS representative to a dealer. So when you start operating from such an assertiveness in the lion quadrant, there is no need to feel lonely or to feel victimized, because you are the lead there.
Anuradha, at the ROAR workshop, you were talking about this special initiative that TVS is taking called dealer transformation. Can you talk a little bit about it in terms of what are the benefits of this intervention?
Right. The whole objective of dealer transformation is about creating iconic dealers. By iconic dealers, we not just mean their business growth, their profit, but in all aspects, meaning the customer experience that they deliver, the process robustness that they have, the people capability that they have at the dealerships. It includes all. So by iconic, they are iconic in all sense. So this is the objective with which we are taken up certain pilot dealerships, and we are working with them at the dealership to install customer-led processes and people capability for the same in creating this iconic dealerships. So this is about dealer transformation. So if you see again, it focuses on two key things that we are trying to achieve. Bringing that focus on process for results in all our processes at dealerships, and customer centricity, customer being in the center of all our processes. We believe that these two, when incorporated as a culture, will lead to sustained, consistent business growth. So this is about dealer transformation. So what is in it for the dealer? So as I mentioned, he has a consistent business growth. He is able to sustain in a market even when it is fluid, when it is down. He is able to see a consistent growth in his business. So what is in it for our organization? Of course, by doing this, our customers get a superior, delightful experience, which in turn takes TVS brands to the next level. As you all know, TVS stands for quality, and it should also be known for the best customer experience in the days going forward. Second, the TVS also gets to have a established retail system. When these iconic dealers talk about their process and systems, it is going to become our TVS way of working in our retail processes as well. And if such an environment operates, if the dealers are able to do on by themselves, they stand up on their own, they are self-sufficient in all aspects, then the territory manager job becomes more easier, right? You currently need not run behind the codes and the non-value add activities, so-called things that we are doing today, following up billing, following up the working capital, inventory funds, so on, right? We have more time to focus on capability building at the dealership, market share improvement, and things like that. So the TM's job also gets dignified post this intervention.
In the TM Mastery program, we brought TM sales and TM service together in the program. I want you to tell us what was the idea behind this, bringing the two of them together, and post the program, what is the expectation? I'm sure the expectation is that you want TM sales and TM service also to work together. Why should they work together, and what would be some of the advantages?
Right. So if I have to just simply say in one line, the objective of doing all this is to say together we win, right? So why at all together for a program? Currently, if we see in most of the dealerships that we are operating today, we have very few people, dealers, who outshine in both the sales and the service part of it, right? So we have people who are very good in terms of sales as a dealership. We have good dealers who are very good at service. But in totality, if we see, we have very less. So I think there is still a lot of cross-learning that can happen. When a dealer is able to shine and be a role model in one of the areas, definitely that can be extended to the other part. If it is sales, then service, then if he is excelling in service, then sales. So there lies a lot of potential for the dealer himself to be growing doubly, focusing on both the areas, for which I think the collaboration of sales and service TMs together will make a lot of difference. Second, from a TM point of view, we are able to cross-learn as to what drives the dealer. When he is able to do something in sales, or when he is able to do something in service, why he is not able to extend the same support or rigor in managing the other business. So how do we together show him the carrot of how the business can be doubled if both things are focused equally? So how do we learn from each other TMs as to what can be the influencing factor for the dealer? So these are some of the things that the TMs can work together in order to create a profitable, at the same time a workable relationship with the dealer.